All right, guys, many of you know me as Chapadong, the carpet bombing Smallaballa extraordinaire, DFSarmy.com, content creator, honestly, lead coach, senior contributor, editor, whatever you want to call it, kind of jack of all trades, master of none. But what we're going to do today is we're going to dive into an article that I found. You hear me talk poker analogies all the time. You probably want to punch the computer and go, oh, God, not another one. But you're getting another one. Why? Because it translates to DFS so well. It's where I cut my teeth. It's also what I understand. And every time I see the opportunity to teach a DFS player that's too young to experience the poker boom back in 2001 or 2002, it teaches better than I can by myself. So I want to show you this article here about embracing variance to succeed in poker. Let's just call it embracing variance to succeed in DFS. Let's walk through it. I've also written an article, End Variance Once and for All, or something like that, back in the DFS Army strategy archives if you want to go back in there and dig it out. That said, variance is expected fluctuation of the average result. Guess what variance also is? Median projections in the industry. Yeah, Steph Curry's forecast, projected for 36 points. Yeah, he's not going to hit 36 points. He's not supposed to. It's telling you if we if we ran the slate 100 times tonight, he'd probably be around 36 points. You know what? He may come in tomorrow in a tougher matchup and be projected for 32 points. That's telling, because it's telling you that is over the large sample size of running that slate a bunch of times, that he's not going to perform as well. Therefore, if his salary didn't drop accordingly, he becomes overpriced. This is what these things are telling you. But there's a fluctuation in that average result, and that's the variance, that's the volatility. Some sports, basketball, have narrow ranges of variance. Steph Curry isn't going to come out and score 4 points. He's also not going to come out and score 100 points. He's going to be somewhere around that 36, between, say, 20 and 50 most of the time. He'll have outlier performances. But other sports like NHL, golf, baseball have very, very wide ranges of outcomes. Things like Mike Trout is supposed to score 16 points tonight. He can score you 0, man. And he can score you 45. And that's all within a very, very wide range of realistic probabilities, whereas not that wide in basketball. Football, positions have variance. Quarterbacks don't generally score you 4 points. They generally get you somewhere around 10 to 15 and upwards of 25 to 30. They get outside that range and score 35 and 40 sometimes, but most of the time they're right around 20 points. Am I wrong? The variance isn't as strong or as wide at quarterback as it is at, say, tight end or defense, where they oftentimes get you a 0 and sometimes blow up for 25 points. So that variance all piles together, and that variance creates volatility, the ups and downs, the swings, and everything else that we go through that's a nightmare, because we're trying to pick 6 to 9 players in those channels and honestly get outlier performances to the positive on all of them. I mean, come on. That's not going to happen very often. That's why you don't win, 20,000, 50,000, 100,000 person GPPs very often, So if we come down here a little bit more, be careful what you wish for. This is a great point. I'd argue that it's impossible to avoid variance. But it's also not a good thing to avoid variance. You can read this article if you want to, but the bottom line is variance is a good thing, especially if you're not a very experienced player. Variance is a great thing because you can capture it to the positive and outperform your skill level. You don't know. You don't know how, where you're going to fall in that range. So step 1 would be accepting that variance is what it is. And some sports are going to have wider ranges of variance than others. Accept it. Learn to exploit it, because not everybody's accepting it. And those people that are still too busy researching and diving deep and trying to predict the future are doing it wrong. Your job is to diversify and spread out and let the variance come to you. Swings are part of the job description. You signed up for DFS. You signed up for the swings. It's not fair. This is a great point. The law of large numbers will not bail everybody out the same way. You and I can have the same skill level. You can play 1,000 contests. I can play 1,000 contests. They can be the same contests. You will have different results than me. Period. End of story. You may be on a cooler. I may be on a heater. You may win 3 GPPs. I may not win any, but I may min cash a bunch. Who the hell knows? You got to understand. Again, you signed up for it. We could run out 1,000,000 times. We're still not going to get the exact same results. If I flipped a coin 1,000,000 times, is it going to follow the same pattern? No. Is it even going to amount to the same percentage of heads versus tails? No. Not if we break it out to enough decimal places. It's not going to be the same every time. It can't be. It's impossible. Understand that. But weaker players tend to overestimate that luck factor, right? That's when you see them out on Twitter saying, oh, if I had 150 lineups, I could do it too. You just admitted to me you're a total donkey. You're a total donkey. You have no clue what you're talking about. But very, very good players underestimate the variance too. They think they've beat it. They think they've conquered it. They have not. The only thing you can do is learn to embrace it. The only thing you can do is learn to accept it. We can do everything that we can to avoid a car accident, but sometimes the accident does not avoid us. This is being results oriented. You can be a great poker or DFS player and you can make all of the right decisions and you can still get screwed. It happens on a nightly basis. I have the chafing to prove it. You know? The only thing you can do is keep your mind correct. Keep your mind in the right frame of mind. That's all you can do. The rest is this devilish game that we play that has a ton of variance and volatility in it. Step 2 is perseverance. You increase your win rate by studying more, by talking more, by coaching more, by being coached more, by answering questions, by asking questions, by talking this game. Every sport, every format, every contest, everything. Just immerse yourself in the community and talk about it. Don't sit on the sidelines quietly and just be a vulture in a tree. Don't be that guy. You're not going to get better. Yeah, you'll get better, but you're not going to get as good, as fast as if you would jump in and interact with everybody. I'm here daily. I am waiting for you daily to come forward and talk to me. Ask anybody that I've talked to, and they will all tell you their game gets better faster because we talk about anything. I've talked about people's dog having cancer, and I've talked about the depths of DFS strategy. It doesn't matter. My job as a coach, air quotes, as a coach, is to help you get better. Stop the losing. Learn to break even. Become profitable. I make no guarantees, but your game will be better by talking to me. Period. End of story. That part I can guarantee. It will show some form of improvement. And a lot of it's mental. And a lot of that does revolve around some studying and some learning some systems and some learning which buttons to push and which contests to capitalize. Put yourself in the best opportunity to win money for your skill level, and then work on your skill level so you can continue to put yourself in a better and better position to win more and more and more money. But also we need to increase our sample size, and that's playing more. If you only flipped a coin 3 times, it's going to come up heads twice or maybe 3 times, or it's not going to be a 50-50 proposition. The only way to balance out that sample size or to balance out that variance and that volatility is to flip the coin more. Don't just make 1 or 2 or 3 lineups in it. Now you can. If you enjoy playing that way, I'm not here to bash you. I'm just going to say it's going to take a long time to build up the sample size that you can trust that tells you where your skill level is. Now, If you play 100 lineups a night, okay, you did 100 lineups in what took that other guy a month to produce, but that doesn't tell you much either because it was one night. You need to do it over a week or two or a month. In fact, we should probably not even count lineups because there's different ways to do it. We should probably just count time. Don't come to me unless, I don't care if you come to me with 1,000,000 lineups or, 100 lineups, but don't come to me until you've got about a month worth of tracking. And I'll show you that before we wrap up here. But tracking is very, very simple. We talked about it yesterday. We had a live chat discussion inside our VIP forums in the beginner's room. Hopefully you heard it. Hopefully you partook. There were only 5 of us in there, so I know you didn't. But it was pretty important to pay attention to the tracking. And of course, leverage. A part-time player may consider the possibility of taking regular but limited shots at tournaments with top-heavy payouts. Very, very, very important for the DFS player. Essentially, it's turning variance on its head and making it work for you. What does it mean? Don't be afraid to take shots at the big tournaments in DFS. Yes, you're a grinder. Yes, you're a cash gamer. Yes, you're slowly building a bankroll. But you're not a pro. You haven't made this your default process for the day, your default tournament selection for the day. Why not on a Saturday? I used to do this all the time. I'd grind all week, and then on Sundays were freebie days. I'd go burn my whole damn bankroll if I wanted to on a Sunday NFL contest that was huge. I'd take a shot. What's wrong with taking a shot? Just last night, I took shots. I took tons of shots. I got to FanDuel. They didn't have my quarter hockey contest. I said, F it. And I went and loaded up a bunch of satellites and a bunch of smaller contests and whatever else. Instead of building 75 to 100 lineups, I only built about 44 lineups. I popped 2 satellite tickets that are out of my normal range and ended up winning, I don't know what it was, the 900-person tournament. Got up to about 19th in it, which was fine, but it didn't pay much. Got up to, I think in the small wrister, the 5 max $1 entry. I think I placed 6th or something in that, which again, I was winning it for a while, which isn't saying much because it didn't pay me money. But I ended up putting in about $17 and ended up getting back about 32 in, either in satellite tickets plus winnings, whatever. So now I've got a couple of satellites to worry about, which are just the $4.44 center, but it's on February 18th. I'll pile up some more tickets for it, and I'll go min cash that son of a bitch. And if I min cash it a few times, guess what I just turned my quarter into? $8. You're not going to find that in many GPPs. That's another angle we can attack. But by taking shots, you're exposing yourself to the higher winnings. You're allowing yourself to use your lack of skill, lack of time, lack of experience, whatever. You're flipping luck on its head and allowing the luck to take advantage of you. If that makes sense. Let me jump down in here and let me show you. This is tracking. And briefly, within the next minute or so, I take 100-man leagues and I show 4th place, 56th place, 75th, 75th, 85th, 90th, 6th, 47th, 33, 1, 7, 48, 82, 99th, yes, almost dead last, 95th, yes, crappy, 98, yes, crappy stretch. But over that stretch of just 43 contests, I was in the top 50 26 times or 61% of the times. That means that those lineups were still good enough to profit in 50-50s. If that's what I entered was cash games, I'm building lineups that are strong enough to benefit from cash games. Top third, over 30% of the time, I'm in the top 30. That means that I am profiting in triple up contests. 12%, 100-man leagues. 19% of the time, I'm still even with these 95th and 99th, 19% of the time, I'm cashing in 100-man leagues. I should be in those contests. I should be playing those contests. Top 1, winning a 100-man league 2% of the time, twice as often as I should if the skill level remained equal. That means I should be in those contests. These are my grinder contests, 50-50s, triple ups, 100-man leagues. These are the grinding contests. But I'm still going to take shots at the bigger contests, top-heavy payouts, because you never know. Variance can find you. And when it finds you on the positive, you compile money, and it allows you to move up and play a little bit more and grind a little bit higher. And the next thing you know, you're the one giving the advice, not taking the advice. And that's where I'll leave this. Hopefully this article made sense to you. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about variance. You're set to embrace it, and you're going to get inside our beginner's room, and you're going to take some coaching. Anyway, Upswing Poker was the source of this article. Peace out, homies. We'll talk to you soon.